one receiver did get paid yesterday, Nico Collins, 3 years into his career. He had a breakout season in 2023. First 2 years, well, and look, he was with one of the worst, most dysfunctional teams in football. All of a sudden, a quarterback is there, and Nico Collins explodes with over 1,200 receiving yards. He gets a 3-year extension. Now, he was entering the 4th year of slotted rookie deal. So what happens is he now has a 4-year contract, and the 3-year extension has a reported value. And we're at the point where we don't even put these numbers on PFT anymore until we get the real numbers, because it's reported as $72.75 million on a 3-year extension, $24.25 million per year new money average. But you know what? I'm saying it because that's what's out there. I'm not putting it on my website until I can see the actual numbers, because we've seen the Fugazi back-end BS that drives up the value. Let's see what the real numbers are. But the bottom line is the Texans moved. They didn't screw around. This is a guy who has 3 years in, and he's gotten his financial reward. And his new money average is higher than what Stephon Diggs is going to make this year. And they understand. You bring in a guy who's a stranger to the organization. You're going to pay him $22.5 million on a 1-year deal, and then he gets to hit the market. What are you doing for the guys who have been there working? Nico Collins, who was there through the crap times and now had a chance to blossom with a great quarterback. What are you going to do for him? What are you going to do for the other guys who are on the way up, who have been part of the team? I credit the Texans and GM Nick Caserio for understanding you got to take care of your own. If you're going to start bringing in strangers and paying them a lot more money than what the guys who have been there have made, you got to take care of your own. That's why it's smart that they did what they did.
I mean, 100. It's what we've been talking about, right? I mean, if you know you're sold on the guy, the person, what he brings to the table as a physical specimen, right? We've had these conversations about the Dallas Cowboys. You've said it a million times. They know, get out in front of it. Well, he's got an extra year on his deal, 3 years, 72. Even if that's not the exact number, you added onto this last year. Damn, it's 4 and whatever for, 75. I mean, for a guy that you look at and go, he might be our number one right after this year, after Stephon Diggs leaves. Either way, like you talked about just a minute ago, the way the salary cap's going, right? Here's a guy that hasn't made any money being a mid-round draft pick, and by all due accounts, it looks like the stats and the play are going to continue to go upward. Let's strike now before he has another 1,200-yard season and 14 touchdowns, and then goes, let's ask for $31 million a year next year, right? I mean, to me, that's where great job by D'Amico Ryans and, of course, Nick Caserio, who's built an unbelievable team here, finagling the spreadsheets and everything, and the talent on the team and everything there. This is a good signing by them. They got something going here in Houston.
15 games last year in the regular season, 10 starts for Nico Collins. He had 1,297 yards, 80 catches, averaged 86.5 yards per game. As a rookie, 31.9 yards per game, 48.1 yards per game in year 2. Explodes to 86.5 in year 3. Right. 8 touchdown catches last year. So that's
gauging where the wind's going here. They're going, wait, he's gonna go big again this year.
Ain't gonna get any cheaper.
Exactly.
That's what we've been saying. That's been the theme of the offseason.
Right.
Primarily directed at the Cowboys, but also other teams. The longer you wait, you're not going to wake up one morning and all of a sudden it's going to get cheaper unless the guy gets hit by a bus. And that's not the bet you want to make. Gee, maybe he'll get injured on his own and I won't have to pay him. Yeah, he also can't play anymore either. You want to be behind your guy. You want to bet on your guy to win. You don't want to bet on him to lose. And I still cringe every time I see that graphic, a Tyreek Hill at 30. That's phony. And look, all due respect to Drew Rosenhaus, he was the agent for that deal. He's the agent for Nico Collins. That's one of the reasons why I'm leery about this 3 years, 72.75. I want to see what that final year is. But the difference is Collins is on the way up, and it's only a 3-year extension.
That's right.
It doesn't have, like an older guy would have, that Fugazi final year that's on the Tyreek Hill deal. That for him, what motivates him? He wants to be able to say, I'm making $30 million per year, and that's fine if that's what floats your boat. But you ain't making $30 million a year, Tyreek, and you know it. In your heart, you know you ain't making $30 million a year, and you know there's lesser receivers out there making more. And am I trying to stir up a little shit with this? Yes, I am. Because it's time for Tyreek Hill to come back and get paid. Sorry, Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer.
Yeah,
it's time for Tyreek Hill to get paid again.
But I hear you from what you're saying there. Hey, the Texans, they're building something here. I mean, again, he's Nico Collins, Michigan guy, stand-up guy, blocks in the run game. No diva personality that we know of or that I've even heard of, right? You got a Caserio from New England. You got a D'Amico Ryan from the 49ers and played for Alabama, a Michigan guy. They know what he's all about. He's a professional, basically came into the league as a professional under Jim Harbaugh, right? So those are the kind of guys, teams, when you talk about culture, and like you're talking about, we drafted him. He's in our locker room. He's doing good. He's doing all the other things good. Let's reward him. People see that. Let alone with this quarterback, you got a chance to really like grow, a nucleus of young players here to really like enhance that culture. Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, right? Got a chance to be there for a long time together. Dameon Pierce in the backfield when Joe Mixon moves on. Maybe they keep him. I don't know, but we know they got something here. And that's where I think is, great move by them, shoring that up. You don't know what's going to happen with Stephon Diggs after this year. You know what Nico Collins is. And like you said, arrows pointing up at this point of his career, where he is, that offense, and, of course, that quarterback to go with it. It all makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, and it's smart to get ahead of it because the explosion, I believe, is coming. Now, this isn't on our rundown for today, so I'm just going to go ahead and wedge it in there, and I'll blame it on the heart monitor if I have to. I don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Either in the very short term before next week's mandatory minicamp or before the start of training camp, but yesterday we talked about the dynamics involving the Justin Jefferson negotiations with the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
I currently believe, based upon some of the stuff I was able to shake from the trees yesterday, they got a chance to get this done.
Yeah.
And the Vikings realize the things that we've been saying they need to realize. Don't play games. Don't dick around. Don't try to nickel and dime one of the best players in the National Football League. Get it done. Get it done. They have had opportunities to trade him, I believe, and they want to keep him. Fine. Then you got to pay him. But once he gets paid, I think it's going to – I don't know this, but I think it's going to be something that makes the average person who hasn't paid attention to this say, holy crap, look at what Justin Jefferson got, because it's going to transcend the market. But what it's also going to do is it's going to allow some of the other guys at the position to try to get more. It's going to be that
Tyreek Hill's going to go, wait.
That wash. It's the rising tide.
Right.
Not just Tyreek Hill.
I know.
Nico Collins. If Nico Collins hadn't gotten 24.25, Nico Collins might have wanted more. Once you get Jefferson, and you're going to have Chase, who's going to try to catch Jefferson or pass Jefferson by $100,000 per year when it's all said and done. So it was smart for the Texans to get ahead of this, because the Texans are looking at it saying, Jefferson's going to get his, Chase is going to get his, Lamb's trying to get his, Ayuk's trying to get his. Let's just go ahead and give Nico his before this thing explodes.
Yeah.
And it gets even harder to get these guys signed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the receiver market has a chance to go with something, we talked about yesterday and we've hit on, where, the high-end guys maybe start to realize, like, hey, these guys are special. We'll pay them, almost mid-level quarterback money. And then the rest of the market might have to, fight for what's out there a little bit. I could see that happening. The super elite really gets paid. And, of course, we know Justin Jefferson is super elite. And we've been talking about numbers 36, 38. And, again, if it got to $40 million a year, I would not be shocked if I saw Justin Jefferson got $40 million a year. That would not be shocking to me with where we're at right now. And it's a receiver, and usually they stay healthy and have longevity. And, of course, you can add years to that contract there to, lessen the blow a little bit, and where the league and the salary cap is going, to all the points you made earlier in the show. So that's not shocking. That's not shocking. But, yeah, to your point, that's the great reason of them getting out in front of it and getting this done before Nico might look at it and go, wait, the market's changed here a little bit. I might want a little bit more money.
I'd be shocked by 40. I would be shocked. I think that's probably a number where the Vikings don't
say no.
Go.
You're saying 38, 37, somewhere in there.
Well, the other thing they got to worry about is how everybody's going to react. And if they completely blow the lid off the market, then they get even though the Haslams denied it, the cold shoulder treatment that they definitely got 2 years ago when they blew everything up with the Deshaun Watson 5-year fully guaranteed $46 million
Sometimes
year
guys are worth it,
quarterback.
though. I don't know. Like the league, like Mike, I would say, like the league wasn't mad at the Rams, like blew off the market with Aaron Donald. And then, even Nick Bosa. And I feel like I'm missing one other one where there was a position where.
Chris Jones.
What'd you say? Oh,
Chris Jones.
yeah, right. There's a few there where I'd go, I think Justin Jefferson's one where the league will go, well, okay. I mean, damn, they changed the market, but it's freaking Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's awesome. You see Florio, he's a Vikings fan. He drools about him every time he talks. I mean, the guy, Florio's trying to circumvent the salary cap. He's buying them gifts at the Super Bowl every year. So, I mean, the league will understand how special he is.
Wait a minute. That was just 1 year, and it was because he was the PFT Offensive Player of the Year. And because I foolishly, at your prodding, let him pick whatever he wanted his
players got to get paid, man. Got to get players. You're making all this money off the players. Pay him, pro player.
He wanted some high-end gaming computer that he uses and enjoys, thank God. My big fear was, we bought this damn thing for him, and he's never going to use it because he's got one that's 10 times better. Right. Yeah. It's just everyone family visits, and he doesn't want them messing with his good, even more expensive equipment. Apparently, he uses it, and he loves it. So that ship sailed. That was an expensive foray into buying stuff for guys who can afford to buy their own stuff. Okay, so anyway,
Seriously.
He'll be able to afford.
You bought him and
lot of stuff.
Christian McCaffrey stuff. They're swimming in tens of millions every year.
McCaffrey got some expensive Billy Baru putter that we personally delivered to his house, and then Howie Roseman, who was the executive of the year. He was smart. He said, I just want whatever the most expensive gift is that you bought, I just want you to donate that to charity. So I got hit twice. So
good.
So anyway,
let it go,
thanks, Howie. All right. What else was I going to say about Jefferson? I don't. It can still go sideways because it's not just dollars. I've been saying this for a year. I found the article from May 30 of last year, almost a year to the day. Structure is still an issue. The Vikings resist structuring contracts the way others do. And I don't know this, but I think they're going to have to do 3 years guaranteed. And maybe, and this is just my spitballing here, you could do the 2 years fully guaranteed with the third year that becomes fully guaranteed after 1 year because you ain't going to cut the guy after 1 year. So the practical guarantee can be very powerful in that setting. If you don't want to do the full guarantee, but the player looks at it and says, it doesn't matter, I'm still getting the money for 3 years, you do that instead. I think 3-year extension with the first 3 years of it fully guaranteed or practically guaranteed would likely get it done. But then the separate side is, what does it take? It was going to be 34 because Kwesi Adofo-Mensah wrote the check back in February. He's deserving to be paid like a top non-quarterback. Well, that's Nick Bosa at 34. The salary cap has gone up since then, and the receiver market is up at 32 in new money average. Somewhere between 34 and 40 is where this thing, I think is going to need to land. Right. And the Vikings, they still have to do it. Last year, Jefferson was ready to do it. The Vikings weren't. The Vikings weren't willing to go where Jefferson wanted them to go. And now we'll see if they can get there. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.